Hello everyone, just a warning before we begin, this video will contain some major spoilers for the end of Mists of Pandaria, so if you don't want any spoilers, please turn off the video right now. As some of you may know by now, Garrosh has been defeated and the end of Mists of Pandaria has been revealed. I've been getting quite a few questions about the end cinematic, like what do I think about it, what will happen with Thrall, with Jaina, but first, for those who haven't seen it yet, here's the end cinematic for both sides.
You disappoint me, Garrosh. You are not worthy of your father's legacy.
His punishment is not for you alone to decide.
I won't let you take him.
We have all suffered from his atrocities. My people, more than any other. Let him stand trial in Pandaria. There, we will mete out justice for all. The Horde needs its true war chief, now more than ever.
Yes, but it was you that held the Horde together during this madness. It was you that protected our honor. From this day forward, Vol'jin, if you lead, I will follow.
I am not worthy. But I will give my all for the Horde.
Look at them. Already they plot against us. Seize this moment, Varian. Dismantle the Horde.
Guardsmen!
Father, what are you doing? What a king must do.
I will speak to your war chief.
I speak for the Horde.
Very well. The Horde has committed heinous crimes, Vol'jin. But some among you fought against Garrosh's tyranny. For that, I am willing to end this bloodshed. But know this. If your Horde fails to uphold honor, as Garrosh did, we will end you.
Keep in mind that a lot of this is going to be my opinion. My opinion about this cinematic in general, this ending, I have to say, great job Blizzard. I really enjoyed the ending. It's not perfect, but for the story that was given, it was the best that both sides could hope for. At least, in my mind it is. First we see Thrall with his famous quote, "You disappoint me, Garrosh." And for those who don't remember, it's the same thing he told him after he messed up the meeting in Dalaran back in Wrath of the Lich King.
You disappoint me, Garrosh.
I really liked that they placed it in there because it shows the development of certain characters from Wrath of the Lich King to this moment in Mists of Pandaria. Just look at how far Thrall has come, how far Varian has evolved, even Jaina, not for the best, but even she has had some story developments, and yeah, I think that's great, but I'll get back to Varian and Jaina in a moment. The Horde got their new war chief in the form of Vol'jin, which wasn't that much of a surprise of course, but as Blizzard themselves have said, that info was pretty old by now. You can't just dump a character in the war chief role, it needs to be built up to that point, and I think they did a great job with building Vol'jin in that character. I especially like the part where he was all surprised about it and saying that he's not worthy of the title of War Chief. I think the Horde is going to need a more humble War Chief if they're going to rebuild and heal and work together with the Alliance towards a more peaceful way of living. At least for the moment. Notice by the way how all the other leaders bow down and recognize him as their new War Chief. All but Miss Sylvanas. She nearly didn't move at all, and I think this is just perfect for her character. Sylvanas is in the Horde because the Horde suits her needs. She doesn't feel a loyalty towards it. It's a good defense, it's always good to have allies, and well, that's about it. I interpreted it as Sylvanas not giving a crap about who's leading the Horde. She will still do her own thing, she will still resurrect her corpses, she will still have her plague, and I would imagine that she likes having Garrosh out of the picture.
Have you given any thought to what this means, Sylvanas? What difference is there between you and the Lich King now?
Isn't it obvious, War Chief? I serve the Horde.
Watch your clever mouth, bitch!
For the Alliance, I think Varian was truly a badass. Either you get some honor back in your Horde, or we will come back and end you. I loved it, because it shows that he has definitely grown as a character. He's no longer the racist, all orcs must die, boo-hoo, my kingdom has fallen king that we knew in the past. He's now more balanced in things. He now realizes that there's more to a person besides the way they look, besides their race. A lot of this development has been done in the novels like The Shattering and Wolfheart, but the man has really gone through some growth and he's now reached that point where he can see beyond all the Horde being his enemy and he can really work towards some peace. I also like that Anduin stayed out of it for once. In, for example, The Shattering, Varian also had to make a decision about continuing the bloodshed or not. About killing Moira or letting her live, and in that story it was Anduin who pushed him into that decision. This time Anduin stayed out of it and it was all Varian. He even had Jaina whispering in his ears that he should just do it. Dismantle the Horde right now, and she was the embodiment of Varian a couple of years ago, back in Wrath of the Lich King. If you remember the Ulduar cinematic where he said,
"I'm done with your Horde. May this Death God take you all."
Jaina is now in that position, and even with his former self, with his former mindset towards the Horde whispering in his ears, he decided to take the lessons of Pandaria to heart and end the cycle right here, right now. With that said, I think it's a great ending for the story of Mists of Pandaria itself. But for the bigger story, I find it a weird decision. Taranzu can preach about ending the cycle all he wants, but the Horde and Alliance have been fighting before Pandaria, and we will be fighting each other after Pandaria. In order to make the story work, this possibility for peace, Varian not looking like an idiot, they will need to keep the peace between the Alliance and the Horde, which I don't see happening for a very long time. Maybe for 1 or 2 expansions, but in the long run, this is World of Warcraft, and this is an Alliance versus Horde story, and we will start fighting each other again. The moment will come where we resume the war, and for whatever reason this might be, and then this decision will bite Varian in the ass. How do you explain to your army and your troops like, yeah guys, we could have ended the war back then in Pandaria, you know, but we wanted to fight it with honor. Tomorrow you're going to be sent out to defend the world, you're probably going to die, but hey, at least you will do it with honor. That's just silly. You can't really expect the war to continue if you just had this moment to break the cycle. But like I said, for now, for Mists of Pandaria, Varian was a badass and it's damn good to be Alliance. I can't wait to see where the story will go from here. A lot of you have been asking about Jaina Proudmoore, like is she evil now? Is she hearing the whispers of old gods? Is she a Nafrazim all of a sudden? And well, evil is always in the eye of the beholder. Take Garrosh for example. I see him as evil for bombing Fedamore, for attacking Vol'jin, for all the things he has done. Other leaders of the Horde saw him as evil for their own reasons, mainly when it started to hurt the Horde itself. The orcs that teamed up with Garrosh and some of the players that actually sided with Garrosh saw him as a good thing. If you're in a war and you want to win this war, then you should use everything that you have, and Garrosh wanted this world for his Horde. He wanted what the first Horde wanted, and when people talk about Vol'jin being a bad leader because he's not an orc, or that the Horde is not the same, keep in mind that the Horde hasn't been the same ever since Thrall became War Chief. If you really wanted to go back to the roots of the Horde, if you really wanted a War Chief, then Garrosh is that War Chief, even Thrall. Despite the badass that I think that he is because he's one of my favorite characters, but he was not a real war chief. Garrosh was a real war chief, at least if you go back to the beginning. With that said, evil is in the eye of the beholder, evil is debatable, and that's the same for Jaina. Now, listening to the whispers of the old gods or being corrupted or replaced by enough regime or whatever, I think that's taking it a little bit too far. Her reaction in the siege fits with her character development. It fits with the story that she's been given in Mists of Pandaria.
Don't get soft on me, Varian. The Kirin Tor will come down on Garrosh so hard his ancestors will reel. Blood will pay for blood. Seize this moment, Varian. Dismantle the Horde.
She's been through a roller coaster of emotions throughout the expansion. Don't forget, first she had her city nuked and she wanted to flood Orgrimmar.
You spit on mercy? Then you will have none. You want carnage? Garrosh will get more blood than he ever bargained for!
She decided not to do that. She decided that she didn't want to become an Arthas, and with the help of Caligos, she got over that. She took a role as the leader of the Kirin Tor, and she wanted the city to be a beacon of hope, a way to show the world that Horde and Alliance can still work together. She even denied Anduin and, by extension, Varian her allegiance, her Kirin Tor, to the Alliance because she wanted to remain a neutral faction.
I see our city as a beacon of light showing the way. If we can trust one another here, then there's hope for the rest of the world.
And then what happened? Well, she was betrayed from the Kirin Tor within. The Divine Bell was stolen from under her nose, and she started the Purge of Dalaran, where she imprisoned all the Sun Reavers, and those that put up resistance, they got killed.
I see. I will remove the Sun Reavers by force then.
So that pissed her off pretty good, and then she went to the Isle of Thunder, still steaming, still very mad with Lor'themar and his Sun Reavers and the Blood Elves. But in the end, Taranzu intervened and told them to end the cycle of hatred, to which she agreed, only because she wanted to focus on Garrosh.
Lady?
Lord.
And now the moment has come. The Horde is right there, ready to be dismantled. Garrosh is on a golden platter, and she wants to finish it. She wants revenge for what the Horde has done to her and her people. Is that evil? Most likely, but I also find it very understandable. Jaina has sacrificed so much for the sake of peace. She has helped the Horde time and time again. She's lost her father, she's lost her brother, she lost her city, the last survivors of Lordaeron, and most of all, she has lost her trust in the good of the people. She has been betrayed time and time again, and I really can't blame her that she doesn't trust the Horde at this point. I really can't blame her anymore, because she asked Thrall for help, he refused. Garrosh came, bombed the city, and to her, don't forget, we can see both sides of the story, and we know that the Horde, as a whole, didn't really agree with Garrosh's choice. We know that Vol'jin and Bane were appalled by what Garrosh did. Jaina doesn't know that. The same with Dalaran. You and I know that it wasn't the Sun Reavers who were behind the betrayal, it was actually a setup by Garrosh. Jaina doesn't know this, so in her mindset, in her point of view, ending the Horde here and now is the best option for the future of Azeroth. And perhaps, who knows, maybe in the future, when the war returns, when the Alliance and Horde start fighting each other again, she might be proven right. What does this all mean for the future? Well, that's really hard to say, actually. In general, they've said that even though we won't see it in a cinematic, there will be discussions about the future between the Horde and Alliance. So it's very possible that there will be a new ceasefire. At least in the lore there will. The Horde is going to need time to heal and adjust to the new situation. It will probably be a little bit more quiet on the Horde side for a while. The family has been through a whole lot and they're going to need some time. They're going to get Thrall as an orcish leader most likely. They're going to get Vol'jin as a new war chief. Sylvanas is still doing her thing. Maybe she gets some new recruits out of the siege. Who knows what's going to happen. What we do know is that they're going to chill for a while. They're going to relax, sit back, rebuild and recover. On the Alliance side, we have a Varian who just took a decision for everybody. How's the Alliance going to take that? We know that Jaina wanted something else, but we haven't heard about Moira or Tyrande or any of the other leaders. Are they going to stand behind their High King, or is this going to break them up? My personal feeling is that the other faction leaders are just going to go with it, but Jaina, she is not going to stand for it. She has her floating city in the sky, she has no real ties to the Alliance. I think she's just going to take the Kirin Tor, give the finger to Varian and lead her new city. That does leave the question though, what is she going to do with the Sun Reaver prisoners? Is she going to execute them? Send them home? Allow them back in the Kirin Tor? I don't know, but I really hope that they don't forget about them and that they give them a proper ending. It would suck if they would leave those Sunreaver prisoners just sit in their prison without any real explanation given. It's a little bit tricky to predict what's going to happen, because the easy solution would be Jaina embracing Varian his decision and give the Sunreavers another chance. That way they won't have to do that much to change Dalaran, except replace Ronan with Jaina. The problem with that is that the Sunreavers are probably going to be pissed off with Jaina and most likely don't even want to stay in the Kirin Tor. So yeah, it will be very interesting to see how they will solve this. Is Dalaran going to be stuck in the Wrath of the Lich King time period? Is Dalaran going to be half empty with the Sunreavers leaving? Is Dalaran just not going to change at all? Time will tell. After the siege, we see Lore Walker Cho, who goes to the Vale of Eternal Blossoms and tells Emperor Xiao Hao that they did it. The darkness that he once struggled against has been defeated, but at a great cost. The Emperor shows up with the Celestials and he shows Cho that the land will heal. He places a tree in the ground and it shows that in time Pandaria will definitely heal from the events of Garrosh. Now I couldn't quite tell from the recordings what exactly happened to the heart of Y'Shaarj, but it looks like Garrosh fully absorbs it and automatically destroys it. Now I'm not sure about this though, so please don't quote me on this. We get another vision, which could be our future, and it shows Anduin visiting the cage of Garrosh. I really wonder what Anduin is doing there. Why would he visit Garrosh? Is he asking Garrosh why he did what he did? Is he rubbing it in his face that he lost? Or what the hell is all of this about? I'm going to laugh my ass off if it turns out that this isn't really Anduin, but for example Jaina in disguise, who has made a move to end Garrosh once and for all. I doubt it, to be honest. It's a little bit far-fetched, but it's a fun little theory. My guess would be that Anduin talks to Garrosh, tells him what a naughty orc he has been, and tries to convert him to be good again, but hey, who knows, maybe we'll see this in the future, what the hell actually is going on. What about Garrosh's future? Well, if the history of WoW is any indication of what's going to happen, then he is going to pull a Doomhammer. That means that he's going to escape his prison, he's going to end up wandering the world for a while, and eventually one day he will get a redemption story, just like his father received. There are no real clues given for the next expansion besides a platform of Alliance and Horde possibly working together again. With Varian his choice of ending the cycle, we're ready to take on the next big threat, which could be Enzov, could be Burning Legion, could be something entirely different. We'll most likely know more in about 2 months with BlizzCon, which I can't wait to see on the livestream. Now, like I said at the start, most of this is just my opinion and my interpretation of the end cinematic. Don't take anything as set in stone, because I don't make the story, Blizzard does, and your opinion is as valid as mine. I do hope you all enjoyed the story though. Subscribe if you like my videos, and until next time guys, see ya!